The Knicks couldn't hold off LeBron and the Lakers last night, losing 129 to 123, and the Kings returned to the Garden for the first time in 3 years. Alex Trataros of Knicks Fan TV is with us. Talk about Bron's return and some of the interesting storylines coming out of last night. All right, Alex, you got the smile right now, but you weren't smiling at the end of the game yesterday. Knicks fans are just blowing up my Twitter timeline. So give us your good, bad, and ugly from last night. What are your thoughts from that game?
Well, Brandon, I'm smiling because I'm get to talk to you today about the New York Knicks. So thank you for having me on as always.
No problem.
Now, again, to the good, bad, and the ugly. Woo! Let's start off with the good, all right? Because the one thing I could say with this team right now is that Jalen Brunson is him. He's worth every single dollar, every single penny that the New Yorks gave him this offseason. And you see by the way that he's just able to play in just those critical moments, right? Down the stretch of the game, and I should say, before even the stretch of the last fourth quarter. Second half, he has 18 points. Now, when you get to the fourth quarter, he's hitting his free throws. He's drawing charges on Anthony Davis to give us the last-second shot to see if we could seal this game. So with someone like that who's been constantly showing throughout the entire season that you can rely on him in these moments, absolutely great. That's one of the good, as well as Emmanuel Quickly and Quentin Grimes, too, because you're starting to see their development and how impactful for they are on this team, and it's just great stuff to see from a development standpoint. Now, the bad, three-point shooting, man. The Knicks are still not a great three-point shooting team, and you see that last night when they're trying to compete with the Lakers and try to get out to a hot start, and they were just bricking away. You start seeing Randall out there trying to, even though he's been doing a good job shooting about 34% from three this season, Knicks are still 25th on the league when it comes to three-point percentage, and that's a rough part of their game. And now, conversely, still from the beginning of the season, their three-point defense has been woeful as well. Now, last night it wasn't so terrible against the Lakers because they weren't hitting their shots, but you still see that what is the word? Like, they're still trying to defend the three. They gave up some crucial threes, especially to Brown Jr. at the end of the moment, and they're not rotating quickly enough. So you start to see that, and that's where they need to get better, because allowing guys like that, doesn't matter who it is in the NBA, if you're giving anyone a shot from three-point range, there's a good chance they're going to make it. Now, the ugly, crunch time, man. It is woeful watching this team in the final minutes of the game. We are always there in the final stretch, and it just seems like we either are able to pull it away or we're not. Now, if you're looking at the crunch time stats provided by NBA.com, Knicks are tied 14th for when it comes to 13 and 13th in crunch time. But when you go even further, you start to see who we go down to in the stretch. If it's not Jalen Brunson, it's either Julius Randle and RJ Barrett. And right now, according to Tommy Beer, the stat that we really touched on today was that Brunson has scored 105 points while shooting 47% from the floor, 39% from three, 84% from the free throw line, and has 12 assists and just 3 turnovers. And that's within within 120 minutes of action this season. Conversely, and this is where you start going to Julius Randle and sometimes RJ, but mostly let's stick on Julius because he was the guy last night. Randle's only scored 56 points while shooting 27% from the floor, 23% from downtown, and 73% from the free throw line, and has 13 assists and 11 turnovers. So you start to see, like, we are reliant heavily on Jalen Brunson in those minutes, and we just need somebody else to help Brunson because it gets a little too predictable down in crunch time. So we need to figure out a way to get other guys involved either early throughout the game, and that's just a good, bad, and ugly for you right there.
Damn, the way you just broke that down, I can't wait to go to the barbershop later and tell them all about last night. Like, you gave me everything, the whole stat line. Love it. All right, so LeBron, 28, 10, and 11 last night. Rate his performance compared to some of his other big nights at the Garden.
Looking at last night's performance, it's impressive because still in his 20th season, he's 38 years old. You talk about a guy who put up a triple-double, right? He had 28 points. I believe he had 11 assists. Yep, 11 assists and 10 rebounds. So for someone of his age, his caliber, you just continue to see the King do his thing whenever he's on the court. But with regards to where I have that placed in Madison Square Garden history, I wouldn't put it as top 5 just because of the performance. It wasn't anything flashy. He didn't do anything that really would create a highlight reel on multiple occasions like he has in the past, like whether it was with the Miami Heat or even sometimes with his times with the Lakers. But I would say it's still in the top 10, top 15 moment of his career because he's just getting closer to passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar when it comes to the all-time scoring record. So something like that is still very impressive, but I wouldn't put it in the top 5, probably somewhere in the top 10, top 15.
All right, and the storyline that's coming out, I want to see what you think about this. We only got about 15 to 20 seconds left. RJ Barrett was benched down the stretch. It's trending on Twitter. Do you side with Tibbs and think RJ should have been benched? And with that trade deadline a little over a week away, you think that holds bigger implications?
With the trade deadline coming, so let me start off with, yes, I do think that benching RJ was appropriate last night because his defense wasn't there. Offense was just, even though he tried to get it going within the third and fourth quarter of last night, I felt like he could have done a better overall game. But defensively, he was just not there when we needed him in critical moments. He's taken a step back from last season as being one of our better defenders for this team. So I wasn't against that, especially when you have Emmanuel Quickley and Quentin Grimes, who are your two top perimeter defenders. And Emmanuel Quickley, we're going to look at whether it's Grimes, who's part of the starting rotation, or Emmanuel Quickley. Usually it's been those guys who've been juggling back and forth in those moments in the fourth quarter, and Grimes is a starter. So no one's going to look at as Grimes losing his spot in the final moments, but it's going to be looked at as Emmanuel Quickley, who supplanted RJ last night. And to be honest, I'm fine with that because once again, you're talking about Emmanuel Quickley, who's one of your top players so far on this team. Just when he touches the court, he's just so impactful. Here's some more statistics for you, Brandon. Just looking at like the last 15 games. Through the last 15 games, Emmanuel Quickley is shooting 52% from the field, close to 11 attempts per game. He's shooting 38% from three off of about 5%, 5 attempts per game. And he's shooting 83% from the free throw line, averaging about 4 rebounds and 3 assists. He's a +5 right now during that time. So you see how impactful he is. Even in the first quarter when RJ got into foul trouble, Emmanuel Quickley comes on, hits a 3, the game automatically changes. So I'm okay with Emmanuel Quickley closing over RJ Barrett last night. Now, with regards to the trade deadline, I hope it doesn't make that much of an impact for the front office to feel like they have to go out and go get someone like OG Anunoby and really just deplete their war chest, because I don't see OG as someone who's going to put you over that top. Maybe OG solidifies his team as a top 6 team to make the playoffs without having to go through the play-in, but I don't think he is that player that's really going to take you to that next level where you're competing with guys like the Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers in a 7-game series, which really matters. I think this team, what the front office should do is complete the season with this roster, maybe do a little maneuvering around the edges. You got to move Cam Reddish just because of the situation here. See if you can go get another wing defender. As Ian Begley of SNY noted, Sadiq Bey is maybe someone that could be had. So maybe you go out there and add someone off the bench for wing depth. But as of right now, I don't really need to see major changes for the New York Knicks. I think they should finish the season right now and then figure out how to retool this offseason.
All right, we're all caught up with Knicks basketball. Alex, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate it.